Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Kay, and I'm here today to discuss Divorce Sistas Season 1, Episode 14. Y'all, we finally got to the nitty gritty, y'all. Finally got to the nitty gritty. And I'm gonna tell you something. I can't wait until Javon gets busted. I can't wait until Javon gets busted. Because let me tell you something. Let's just start off with the most obvious part. Okay. William and Geneva. So we are now at Rashida and Jeff's house. And they are sitting down having this counseling session with Rashida and William. Obviously, emotions are high, as they should be, you know. So Jeff tries to, I guess, lower the emotional intensity that's going on in the room right now by getting Jeff to he's trying to get Jeff to say all these good things about his wife, why he loves his wife, when he first met his wife, their first date. And so William is going on about that. He's saying how, you know, how much he loves Geneva, how he's loved Geneva since the first time he met her, how they started dating because I think Geneva ran into him on his bike and he fell off. He got hurt, of course, but he saved her from running out into the street getting hurt. And so she went with him to the hospital, you know. She stayed with him all night. They talked all night, and then they were on the first day, and he was talking about how they was nervous. And right when William was about to say the first time they made love, that's when Geneva was like, Anika is not yours. And I'm like, in the middle of all that, Geneva, for real, you ain't gonna let him finish gassing you up first before you just give him this devastating blow. So he was like, Geneva's not mine, okay? He was like, so you slept with somebody else? And she was like, she nods her head yes. And this is my thing. Geneva got all this mouth. You know what I mean? She got all this mouth, and she's so bold. And you bold enough to go up to that school because you think that man cheating on you. You know what I mean? You bold enough to do all this yapping. You bold enough to talk to Tiffany the way you talking to her, but you ain't got nothing to say to your husband. So, and I don't know why she kept looking at Rashida. Don't look at Rashida now, girl. Talk to William. So William was like, you slept with somebody else. He asked her 3 questions. He asked her, did you sleep with somebody else? He asked her, do I know him? She didn't answer. She said, I can't answer that. Which, what? Geneva, are you serious? You can't answer that? All right. And he asked her, do you love him? She don't give an answer for that either. I just want to say, in this moment, gold star. Gold star to Ronrico. Because let me tell you something. First of all, Ronrico is so fine. But Ronrico played that part okay. I was over there on the seat like, ooh, like on edge because Ronrico played his part. And you could see in his face, he displayed the amount of devastation a husband would feel who has been, first of all, they found out his wife has cheated on him, and then she has had an outside child, and he is taking care of the child. He nailed it. He nailed it. And so he was like, Do you love him? She ain't say nothing. He gets up and he storms out of the house. And Jeff goes chasing him. And so Jeff is outside begging him to let me take you home. He is like up there like crying and stuff. He was like, I'ma walk. So Jeff is out there. Rashida is inside with Geneva on the couch and was like, so you do love him. And she tells Geneva it's just not something she can turn off. Now, mind you, this has been a 6-year span in between Geneva and Javon seeing each other. Since Geneva and Javon have been together, they said they have not been no communication unless I misunderstood. There has not been any communication in between them. So my thing is, I just don't understand if Javon was all this to Geneva back then when she met William, why didn't she just let William go then? Why bring a good man down? So after that whole blow up happens, and after Geneva tells Rashida that she just can't turn it off, Rashida then comes outside. Jeff's still outside. Rashida comes outside and was like, this is too much. I need to take a drive. This is too much. And my thing is, with Rashida, I think Rashida kept that secret too long. And then it's just the simple fact that, like, you got Rashida, who's a pastor, and then William knows, okay, I don't necessarily know if William knows that Jeff does not know everything. Rashida has not told Jeff everything, but he knows, William knows that Rashida knows everything. And so, by Rashida knowing everything, I'm not going to say that it's looking like Rashida is condoning Geneva's bad behavior. But to William, it looks like because she knows and because she's not saying anything, it looks like she condones her behavior and is willing to put up with her dirty secrets and not tell him. And then he feels undervalued because he feels like me and Rashida have this rapport, and I've been with her friend for a long time, i.e. since I've been with her for a long time, we've been friends for a long time. And if you know this woman has this low down, deep, dark secret and she's not saying nothing, that means you don't care for me because you ain't say nothing to me. So you just let me get played willingly knowing. Okay? And so then when Rashida gets in the car, she's calling Tiffany. Mind you, Tiffany is at her house because they just all saw each other down to the Colemans. Tiffany is at her house with Javon and they talking. And see, this is why I say Javon is he's the devil. Because Tiffany is sitting here telling him, I ain't trying to do all that. I don't want to do all that. Something is not right. And just like the devil, he come in and he say all the pleasurable things that you want to hear, knowing that's not what you're supposed to be doing. But here he is offering you stuff that's going to make you feel good. And so, did she flee? No, she didn't. She didn't flee. So, Javon is at Tiffany's house, and they talking about everything that just went on. And mind you, Javon just coerced Tiffany, because it was his idea, and she went along with it, to make her ex jealous because she just found out that her ex-husband is working at the bar. Right? So, they talking about everything that's going on, and mind you, while Javon and Tiffany are on the couch talking, Rashida is calling. Rashida is calling Tiffany. And so Javon asked Tiffany, are you answering the phone? And she was like, oh, it's nobody but Rashida. And she's called me multiple times. To me, if a person done called me multiple times and it's back to back and I know they're calling me, I'm going to answer the phone. Because you just never know what's going on. Especially if one of my friends is calling me. So Rashida is trying to have a talk with... Rashida is now finally trying to have that talk with Tiffany. Like how I said in my last review, like, if I was in Rashida's shoes, and because me and Tiffany is such good friends, I wouldn't just let Tiffany get dogged out by this man. And I know this man dogged out my other friend and got to kill my other friend. I'm just not going to stand by and let my other friend get dogged out willingly knowing. I'm going to tell her something. I ain't going to spray Geneva, but I'm going to tell her something. Just because, like, out of my loyalty to her, I got to do something. So, she doesn't answer the phone. So then they do their whole little whatever. Rashida is already sitting outside Tiffany's house. And y'all know they got keys to each other's house. Now, when Rashida was sitting outside Tiffany's house, I ain't see Javon's car. I only saw one car. But nonetheless, while Rashida is outside sitting in her car outside Tiffany's house, she saw that Geneva rode by Tiffany's house. So she calls Geneva and was like, I saw you just ride past me. She said, go up the street and stop. So she goes up the street and stops. And Rashida gets out her car and walks up and gets in Geneva's car. Then she talks to Geneva. And she asks Geneva some questions. I can't remember verbatim what she said to her. But it was something along the lines of, you waiting on him? And she was like, yes, because I know he's in there. And she was just like, you really want this man after all that he has done? He is wrecking your marriage. He is wrecking your friendship relationships. And you still want him. And she was like, we want each other. I know he don't really want Tiffany. And so at this point, Rashida's just over it. So Rashida calls Tiff and tells Tiff again. Rashida goes back to her car, and I think Rashida goes home. Rashida gets in her car. She calls, Tiffany calls her back. And so when Javon finally leaves Tiffany's house, Javon is riding down the street. Geneva gets behind him, and then she starts telling him, and she's beeping the horn at him. And so he stops the car. She gets out her car and gets into his car. And then this part is crazy. So she gets in the car, and she looks at Javon, and she was like, why are you doing this? And he was like, doing what? And she was like, this whole thing with Tiffany. I know you still want me. He was like, I don't want you. That's in the past. I did want you. I want Tiffany now. She was like, no, you don't. He was like, why wouldn't I? Tiffany's a effing good woman. And she was like, because you don't really want her. You just doing this to make me mad. You just doing this to make me upset. I know you was in... She said something, and then he replied back something smart. He was just like, not after what I just finished doing, something like that. And she was just like, I know you was in there messing with her. I know you was in there ever. And so then I'm just like, he was like, why do you care? You got a whole husband at home. I'm not going to go home and tell him that that's my daughter. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And so they out there in the car screaming. I mean, full out yelling at each other. So then it gets to the point of the conversation where Geneva was like, no, Javon was like, if you leave your husband, I will leave Tiffany. And then we can go get our daughter and we can raise our daughter together. She said no. And I'm just like, Geneva, well, what do you want? You want the man. But you want your husband? You want your family? Does it make sense? So then he says not. She says something, and he gets mad. And then she was like, "Well, He was like, "I'm about to go in there and do Tiffany." And she was like, "Well, I'm gonna go home and do my husband." And then I don't know what else Javon said, but all I know is she smacked fire to Javon. And then she got out of the car. Now, Rashida is on her way home, and Tiffany answers her phone. And so Tiffany is talking to Rashida on the phone, and she was saying how her and Javon just left Coleman's, and how she ran into her ex-husband, and how her and Javon made her ex-husband mad or whatever. Then she said her ex-husband texts her while they're on the phone with each other and says that he sees William down at the bar, and William is drinking, and he has acquired the business of a lady of the night, and he is taking her home. And so now Rashida is shocked to hear that William did that. Mind you, William was already toasted when this whole encounter happened. So then he went back down to the bar, got toasted, and just straight up told this woman that he wants to have entanglements with her. And she was like, 1,500. He was like, okay. So they get back to the house. William tells the woman to disrobe herself. And then she was like, well, where's my money? He was like, I got your money. So he pulls out the money and hands it to her. She takes additional money from him, and he was like, so you know that was 2,500, right? So then the scene cuts back to Rashida and Jeff at their house, and Rashida is talking to Jeff, and she was just like, that was crazy, wasn't it? And so because all this debacle has happened, it got Rashida like in full like stunned survival mode. So she started asking Jeff a series of questions. She was like, Jeff, are we good? And he was just like, why are you asking? She was like, are you in love with me or something like that? And he was just like, yes, I don't want nobody else but you. And then he was like, Rashida, what are you trying to say? And she was just like, our friends have gone through a lot. I just want to make sure we're good. If you ever want to be with another woman, tell me. Give me the right to walk. Don't have me caught up in no mess. I know that's right, Rashida. And Jeff was like, are you trying to say something? She was just like, no. If you ever want to be with another woman, or you love another woman, please tell me, so I can go on about my That's what I'm saying, Rashida. It's just as simple as that. People be making life more complex than it got to be. If you willing to tear somebody's family up and tear somebody's feelings up and push somebody to their limit like that, set me free. Do not drag me down. Do not drag me down. And because people be so caught up trying to have their cake and eat it too, they be destroying people's lives. And then you push people to the brink like William. When you push somebody like that, you play with somebody's feelings, and you push somebody far enough, they can do anything crazy. You just never know. You never play with nobody like that. You never play with nobody like that. So, anywho's him. So, that's all for that whole debacle. Outside of the fact that I didn't mention that Rashida is still pushing Geneva to tell Tiffany, which I'm just like, that situation gonna be so far gone. And then I think Rashida told Tiffany on the phone that she wants Geneva to tell her, but I want to say Rashida told her that man was not good and that she was moving too fast, something like that. That man was not good for her. She just said something generic. To me, that wasn't good enough for me. She should have dang near threatened Tiffany. She should have spilled all kind of beans except Geneva's beans. But anywho, last but not least, this whole Naomi thing. Oh, I forgot about Bridget. Bridget had a small role where the whole key was finally found, which we don't really care about this part. The key was found. She flushed Vaughn out, told Vaughn to get out of the house. I think his name is it Calvin or Kyle? I done messed up that man's name a couple times. He comes over to the house. He's thanking her about the key and everything. So then he starts questioning her about why she treats him a certain way. And she was just like, anyways, why does it matter you're married? And he was like, I'm married, but I'm about to get a divorce. And then right after that, his wife storms in Bridget's house, and she picks up something and tries to fight Bridget, and then she breaks her face in Bridget's house. And I was just like, that came out of left field. We skipped a whole lot of steps, didn't we, Tyler? But anyway, so to the other point with Hakeem and Franklin. So as we know, and I'm sitting here saying everything. Well, I said all of that word for word last episode when I was watching it about how Naomi thinks she is so smart, but everybody got her moves figured out. I said last episode that Naomi left and went to her son's school to have an alibi because she did all of this. It was clear as day. So she went to her son's school. Her son is still confused as to why my mama is here at this school. Mind you, Naomi has acquired services of a man of the night. We don't know where that man came from. Just some random man just hog tied in her room. And so on the cameras, her son sees somebody in all black go across the backyard to the back door. And he can see that his father has ran to the front door. I mean, is coming in through the front door. So he knows that somebody is in the house. So he's trying to call his father or call the police. Then he goes to call his mom. He goes to his mom's hotel and says something is happening with dad. And then she was like, she don't know what's going on. So she tried to, deny. And it was obvious that she was lying. She denies. And Grayson is like, something's going on with dad. And she was just like, well, call your father and see what's going on. Or whatever like that. And so then they see what's going on in her room. They leave the room. So Hakeem is at the house with Franklin, and Hakeem is about to, take Franklin out of the game. And so Franklin is just like, let me get a drink. So he gets him 2 cups of, I guess it's whiskey. And so he's talking or whatever, and he's saying, oh, so she left and went to Grace's school to have an alibi. How much is she paying you? Whatever she's paying you, I can pay you more. And then he's saying all these lies that, that we heard Naomi say to Hakeem. She's probably saying all these lies to Hakeem. He starts recanting the lies that he knows that Naomi said to Hakeem. And so we never see on screen Hakeem take Franklin out though. So I'm under the impression that because Franklin offered Hakeem more money, I don't think Hakeem went through with it. So I think Hakeem is still trying to get paid from him and from her because he went over there to take care of a job for her. But he's saying that it's done. And he's saying it's done because I think Hakeem don't trust Naomi, and he think that she trying to play him because she keeps saying that I'm not going to give you your money until I know it's done. I need proof or whatever like that. So I think Hakeem actually took money from Franklin, and I think he took money from Franklin to take Naomi out. But we gonna find out next episode because I don't know. But that's on episode 14, girl. Leave your comments down below. I will be back next week with episode 15 review. This is